Hi, my name is Natalie Amapola Lahue. My friends call me Luna. It's nice to meet you. I recently turned 21 years old. I arrived to YouthCare when I was just 16. Today, I'm going to share a bit about me and what YouthCare has meant in my life. My story is not an easy one to share with more than 1,000 people I'm meeting for the first time. I appreciate each one of you listening from your heart. I am resilient and compassionate. I am intelligent and I feel deeply. I am a strong, independent woman. And for most of my life, I had to be a warrior. Growing up, my father was a truck driver and spent much of his time on the road. I got to ride along in the summer, and our adventures together were special. By my 8th birthday, we'd been to 34 states. But when my dad was home, he argued constantly with my mom. It became clear that my parents were headed towards a divorce. My dad moved to Washington when I was 8, starting a whole new life, leaving my mom, my brother, and me abandoned and brokenhearted. I am from South Central LA. Some say it is the city of dreams, but I call it the city of lost angels. My mom tried as hard as she could, but it was impossible to support our family all on her own. She struggled with diabetes and other health problems. She could only get the type of jobs that nobody else would take. She pulled feathers off ducks for restaurants. She worked in a fish plant. She handed out flyers on the corner. The next few years are a blur of what happens when poverty and addiction brings a family to their knees. Like many teens at South Central, I had a touch of gangstaness in my bones. Some people might have a different interpretation of that word. But for me, being gangsta isn't about being in a gang. It actually meant working hard, having some hustle, staying safe, and caring about others. For my brother, it meant using drugs and skipping school. At the same time, I was increasingly angry at my dad for walking out. But I also still missed him constantly. There was turmoil all around me, and I was easily pulled into places that were dangerous for a young girl. This is what Melinda was talking about. I was on a pathway to becoming homeless at a young age. But my circumstances were not unusual. The fact that my poor, brown-skinned Latino family struggled to breathe and survive is not surprising. The pain of people of color is so familiar, it becomes unnoticeable. This is why we have to talk about racism when we talk about homelessness. When I was 16, it was clear that my mom's sickness was making it impossible for us to survive. I do not blame her. She tried with all of her heart and hands to do her best. I can now see she wanted to protect me, but there just wasn't a way. It was time to consider reuniting with my dad in Washington. I took one ticket to Seattle, and I was hopeful. Even though I was still angry at him, I was excited to be together again. I arrived thinking I would finally have a healthy family and stable home. I can now see how much she wanted to, but it wasn't. New location, but everything was the same. Alcohol, abuse, manipulation. And there I was, about to decide between an unsafe home or the streets. In a weird way, there was freedom in leaving his house. At least I had some ability to control what was happening to me. I remember thinking, anywhere is better than here. I have to go. It is not safe. I found my way to YouthCare, and I moved into Pathways, the only transitional living program for teens in Seattle. I had the clothes on my back and the shoes on my feet. No backpack, no books, no food. I remember arriving and thinking Pathways was the nicest home I had ever been to. there was a room just for me. I picked out fresh clothes and school supplies. There was a lot of food for everybody. I went to bed warm and safe and with the clean sheets and blankets. I was excited to be back in school, and I had help with my homework in the evenings. I learned to cook and went to group outings. I made new friends. When I turned 18, the YouthCare team worked really hard to make sure I could transfer next door to Passages, one of YouthCare's housing programs for over 18-year-olds. They told me, "Don't worry, we will make sure your housing is all set. We promise." Promises are hard to believe when no one has ever kept them before. I had finally started to meet adults who I could trust, who could help me, and didn't expect something in return. Leslie, Paula, Johnny, Sonia, Lexi, Heather, and so many more. Their commitment was inspiring. Each of them saw something in me and fought for my potential every day, even on the days when I lost faith in myself, which happens when you've been through what I've been through. My case manager helped me transfer all my prior school information so I could stay on track, and I graduated from high school on time. Once again, my YouthCare family came through, and everyone was there at my graduation with cake and flowers, cheering me on. At the same time, I was encouraged to apply for an internship at YouthCare with the tile program. I was accepted, and it was incredible for me, just like Maven talked about. I was really starting to find my way. I laughed a lot for the first time in a long time. The staff believed in me. They encouraged me. They pushed me. They helped me build skills and confidence that I never knew I had. I started to believe I could succeed. There have been bumps along the way. I still have a lot of trauma to work through. PTSD is real. There were days when darkness took over and I would fight the urge to disappear. My sobriety will always be something I have to work on. I still look over my shoulder to make sure I am safe. Through it all, YouthCare stayed loyal. It was a lot like family is supposed to be, who love and support you unconditionally. Even in the last year, I had a chance to participate in another art-focused internship, which gave me a creative way to honor my mom and keep learning how to advocate for myself. I even testified at Seattle City Hall and at the Capitol in Olympia. Currently, I am taking classes at Seattle Central, and I am living independently on Beacon Hill with my sweetie dog, Luffy. I am committed to school, and I am also working at El Centro de la Raza, the Center for All Race. Thank you. I had started volunteering there about a year ago and had a chance to apply for a job supporting families. I visit people in their homes and help them learn how to connect with and play with their toddlers. It's powerful to help people I relate to and who are really struggling right now in our country. In 5 years, I hope to have trained my dog as a support animal. I will still be succeeding in school and maybe even writing a memoir. Professionally, I think about becoming a doctor, a lawyer, an art therapist. Who knows? Maybe today is the first step to becoming a motivational speaker. I don't have my entire adulthood figured out, but hey, did any of you at 21? I am hopeful. I am ready for whatever comes my way. I am still a warrior. I'd like to offer a quick thanks and shout out to my longtime girlfriend, Nee. Through so many of my hardest and best days, Nee has stood by my side. You are the best, my love. I I hope you leave today knowing that I am just one young person and there are hundreds and hundreds of young people just like me right here in our community, in your community. They didn't pick to be homeless. Nobody does. Each of us is just trying to recover it and move ahead. We all deserve that chance to really be somebody in the world. I am thankful that YouthCare saved my life and gave me those chances. As friends of YouthCare, you are part of making those chances for me and so many others. Thank you for listening. You are all warriors too. Thank you.